had to hang up. my bud's Saturday. So well, you had to walk like you were well, they're not like a pretty safe. It's pretty good. She's making trouble. Sure. You look young and thin. The last person messed up. They always look. They do make us look. I have heard of that. Yes.
You want to say anything? Other than your colt? Joe, you want to say anything? Raven, you want to say anything?
This is the first time I've ever been in a rally. Or a protest. This keeps coming up. I know what's on.
Your head is not on your head when he's driving, but it's actually crazy. Please, this is the tie on your.
No, you may not.
But I will hold it up like this to where I won't scrunch
Are
your
you
face.
going to take all the scrunchings out of the hood after you fix it?
Yes. I planned on it.
You know I'm live.
I don't care. My OCD was killing me.
I'm not like those.
Does anyone need a sign to hold? Extra sign?
One of you girls want a sign to hold?
That means you actually got to hold it up.
There you go. You can take turns, or Raven can hold it. You have to hold it up.
Yeah, no. You want to hold this while I hold it?
You carry her water when I do it. Raven.
Oh, think about it. Have good exercise.
Life. Water is 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 life.
Water is life.
Water is life.
Water is life.
Water is life.
Water is life.
Water is life. Water is life. Water is life. Water is life.
Water is life.
Water is life.
Water is life. Water is life.
Water is life. Well, you can keep up with the flow of traffic. I don't care.
Water is life. Water is life.
Water is life.
Water is
Life. Water is life. Water is life. Water is life. Water is life.
Water is life.
Water is life.
Water is life. Water is life.
Water is life.
Water is life. Water is life.
Water is life. Don't let me kill myself walking backwards.
No, you're good.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Hey guys, the back crowd, we're kind of quiet. I'm just saying.
Hey, you picked it out. I'll holler.
What are they saying up there? I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out.
Yellow in the middle of nowhere.
That's what bad thing about being in the back.
Yeah, I don't need a PA.
It's like the back is super quiet and I heard a yell out of nowhere.
Vinny with Johnny!
Vinny with Johnny! Vinny with Johnny!
It's okay.
I know. We just need to be the loud mouth.
Keep it in the soil! Keep it in the soil! Keep it in the soil! Can't drink oil! Keep it in the soil! Can't drink oil! Can't drink oil! Can't drink oil! Keep it in the soil! Can't drink oil! Keep it in the soil! Anyone shooting? Anyone shooting? Can't drink oil! Keep it in the soil! 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 Can't drink oil! Keep it in the soil! Can't drink oil! Keep it in the soil! Keep it in the soil! Where'd Joe? Keep it in the soil! Can't drink oil! Keep it in the soil! You can't drink oil! Keep it in the soil! You can't drink oil! Keep it in the soil! You can't drink oil! Keep it in the soil! You can't drink oil! Keep it in the soil! You can't drink oil! Keep it in the soil! You can't drink oil! Keep it in the soil! Keep it in the soil! Keep it in the soil! You can't drink oil! Keep it in the soil! Keep it in the soil! You can't drink oil! Keep it in the soil! You can't drink oil! Keep it in the soil! You can't drink oil! Keep it in the soil! You can't drink oil! Keep it in the soil! You can't drink oil! Keep it in the soil! You can't drink oil! Keep it in the soil! You can't drink oil! Keep it in the soil! You can't drink oil! Keep it in the soil! You can't drink oil! Keep it in the soil! 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 Keep it in the soil!
Here, put one hand up here. Right here. There you go. Then hold it. There you go.
My name actually being heard from a distance.
You hold this for a second.
Hey, hey, oh, oh! Hey, hey, oh, oh! Pipeline's gotta go! Pipeline's gotta go!
No, holding it up for you.
Okay, my hands are getting too full.
You had it paused the whole time.
Didn't know. I didn't touch it.
Keep it in the soil. Can't drink oil. Keep it in
The soil! Keep it in the soil!
Can't drink oil.
Keep it in the soil!
Can't drink oil. Keep it in the soil. Can't drink oil. Keep it in the soil. Can't drink oil.
Keep it in the soil!
Can't drink oil.
Keep it in the soil.
Drink oil!
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 Keep it in the soil!
Keep it in the soil.
Keep it in the soil!
My hands are numb.
Keep it in the soil! Keep it in the soil! Keep it in the soil!
Keep it in the soil.
Drink oil!
Keep it in the soil.
Drink oil!
Keep it in the soil.
Drink oil!
Keep it in the soil.
Oil pipeline.
Keep it in the soil.
Can't drink oil!
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 Keep it in the soil!
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 Can't drink oil!
Keep it in the soil.
Can't drink oil!
Keep it in the soil!
Can't drink oil!
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil!
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil!
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil!
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil!
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil!
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil!
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil! Keep it in the soil! You can't drink oil!
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil!
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil!
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil!
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil!
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil!
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil!
In the soil.
You can't drink oil!
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil!
Keep it in the soil!
You can't drink oil!
Keep it in the soil!
You can't drink oil!
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil!
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil!
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil!
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil!
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil!
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil!
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil!
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil!
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil!
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil!
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil!
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil!
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil!
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil!
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil!
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil!
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil!
Keep it in the soil!
You can't drink oil!
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil!
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil!
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil!
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil!
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil!
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil!
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil!
Keep it it in the soil.
You can't drink oil.
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil.
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil.
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil.
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil.
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil.
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil.
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil.
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil.
Keep it in the soil.
You can't drink oil.
Keep it in the soil. You can't drink oil.
Keep it in the soil.
Can't drink oil.
Keep it in the soil.
Can't drink oil. Water is life. Water is life.
Water is life. Water is life. Water is life.
Water is life.
Water is life. Water is life. Water is life. Water is life. Water is life. Water is life. Water is life. Water is life. Water is life. Water is life. Water is life. Water is life. Water is life. Water is life. Water is life. Water is life. Water is life.
Water is life.
Water is life. Water is life.
Thank you for coming to the Oklahoma City Powwow Club's No Dakota Access Pipeline March. When evil will reign, when people of good conscience stand idly by and do nothing. When the water protectors were attacked, our 67-year-old nonprofit became a political organization. We have 11,000 people on our Facebook page. I'm Joe Papio Poe Jr. My grandparents founded this organization in 1950. I'm going to let the chairman of the Oklahoma City Powwow Club talk now. I introduce Tom Morgan.
Our first mistake was not building that wall in 1492. That's all right. We welcome everybody. Anybody can come to our country. We welcome you. We intermarries you. We go to football games with you. We celebrate our heritage and culture through dance and song. I'm glad you're here protesting. We're helping our brothers up north and all native people throughout the United States. No matter where we are, where we go, we see signs that says, no Dapl. You went to that football game in Minneapolis, you saw those people crawl up there on the rafters and put that sign up there, no Dapl. Margaret and I went down to the Sugar Bowl. Oklahoma Sooners were playing. They beat up on Auburn, by the way. And we went to a tour. We went to the cemeteries in a not too good area. And on one of the abandoned buildings, we saw the sign, no Dapl. It's everywhere. Everywhere we go, we're trying to support our brothers and sisters and help with this pipeline crossing. They're tearing up our sacred grounds. How do we know there wasn't a Native American buried and born right there in that area where they dug up the pipeline? Make way for the pipeline.
We are everywhere.
Yeah. Everyone is. We're so glad you're here because water is life. You don't want to drink any oil in your water, do you?
No!
No, we don't want that. Joe, next speaker. Doug Progost from Standing Rock. Welcome, sir. Welcome to Oklahoma.
Everybody, will you move up closer and past the plant? Right up here to the edge, right here.
Move in, move in.
I got one.
Hello, everybody. My name is Doug Progost. I started this No Dapl campaign fight in 2014 out of my office on Standing Rock Sioux Tribe from the Water Resources Department in conjunction with the Standing Rock Sioux Tribe THPO office. We were given the first letter from Dakota Access Pipeline saying they were going to come through our land, in which we sent them back and we said no. 2014. Thank you for coming. On behalf of the Standing Rock Sioux Tribe, I thank you for your support of being here. During the last year, people from around the world have sacrificed, traveled far, and stood with us at Standing Rock. Today we gather and stand together here in Oklahoma City. We would not have made it this far without your efforts. We face obstacles and setbacks, but we are not defeated. We are not victims. An obstacle is also an opportunity. Together, we confront these obstacles and embrace these opportunities. Together, we rise. Today, it is not only American Indians, Native Americans who are ignored and pushed aside for the selfish benefit of others. Many communities are now experiencing what we have experienced for centuries: oppression. Our way of life is being destroyed. Instead of striving for mutual benefits, outcomes through understanding, and new administration dictates with the new president. We are not for the new president. Treaties were signed with native tribes, but when it became inconvenient, the treaties were ignored or broken. Laws providing freedom and equal rights were also put into place for all Americans. Yet each week we see more basic human rights threatened by the distant and by this administration. And we are, again, not for Donald Trump. I have to say that so much that this man is gonna be the
Traitor!
They call it the doctrine of discovery. In the United States judicial system, the foundational case of not only federal Indian law, but property law is based upon the premise that it is not native inhabitants of the land who determines its fate. Instead, the decision-making powers lies with whichever conquering European nation possesses it. That's BS. Whichever legitimate nation discovers it gains control, and the rights of the native nations are inherently diminished. That's bullshit. Thank you for letting me read this speech that I've prepared for you guys. I didn't want to do this, but I figured I know that this needs to happen, and I'm going to put in some cuss words, and I hope you guys don't understand what I'm saying.
Go boy!
From the very beginning, those seeking to build an empire describes our ancestors as limited owners.
Bullshit.
Are mere occupants of the land. The empire builders were free to do as they will. That's my flag, don't let it hit the ground. We see this everywhere. Many tribes across the country and indigenous nations around the world are struggling with this very same problem. Imperialistic spirit
is so deeply embedded in the Western and capitalist society that hundreds of years later, our government is still using the exact arguments to disavow the safety of the well-being of the entire population. Not only does the government disrespect people of different origin, it disrespects the treaty rights retained by the original Americans, which are us. The Standing Rock movement marks a turning point in history not only for tribes but for every American, because the heart of our movement is now the heart of the resistance. We want and need this movement to live, to build, and to resist, and ultimately to succeed. No community should have its interests, public safety, or well-being tossed aside because of its interest of corporation or the politically connected, or is politically connected. Tribes, immigrants, women, people of all colors, your age, hardworking Americans, we are all in this together. We are in the 21st century. This is no longer a matter of explorers and imperialists versus savage and infidels. We are all Americans, and above all, we are all human. We all deserve to be included, to be respected, and to have our basic rights considered when a corporation seeks to carry out its actions that could potentially cause harm to our citizens and, of course, to our water. At this point in history, we must consider our planet and natural resources. We need to ensure the future of our children. You stood with Standing Rock, and now I ask you to stand with our indigenous communities from around the globe. Together, we rise. Again, my name is Doug Drogo, Standing Rock Sioux Tribal member. I come here and support what we're doing today. I was asked to come here. Yesterday, I was at the Capitol with that march there, and we marched on the Capitol about 15,000 strong yesterday. I support everybody here. I support the land. I support indigenous people in Oklahoma and around this area. I grew up in Dallas, Texas. Just for a small period of time. I attended Haskell Indian Nations Junior College. Graduated in 1992, went to the military in 92 to 96, served in Desert Storm with the 82nd Airborne Division.
Thank you!
And then went and got my degrees from 3 different tribal colleges, received my bachelor's degree, went back to my tribe to help my people. I served on tribal council from 2009 to 2013 with Standing Rock, after which I became the Department of Water Resources Director, not knowing what I'd be doing today, protecting the water of the world. So with that, I would like to say thank you very much for having me speak in front of you. Thank you for the march, for the prayers, for the colors. Thank you for the staff. Thank you for the headsmen here that are wearing your headdress. The prayers are with you. My prayers are with you from Standing Rock. When I go back to Standing Rock and continue this no Dapl fight, no KXL fight, no pipeline fight in indigenous country, I remember this day forever. Thank you very much.
Thank you!
Came all the way from North Dakota just to be here today. Okay, flew in from Washington, D.C. yesterday. You think it's cold here, think what it was back there. 15,000, but it's not the quantity, it's the quality. I want to thank the Kiowa Black Legging Society for being here today. Honored veterans, right there. Thank you, gentlemen. Our next speaker is, everybody knows him, is Wallace Coffey, former chairman multiple times of the Great Comanche Nation, Lords of the Plains.
I too would like to say thank you to our Black Legged Society, and I want to acknowledge my brother over there, Tugger Palmer. All these years we've known each other since high school, when he was a champion fancy dancer back in those days. So gentlemen, I want to say thank you. You always hold yourself and carry yourself with tremendous respect and integrity. How about a round of applause for our talented Black Legged? Doug, before you go, I want to say a little blessing on your behalf. And maybe you can get back there and tell Dave Archambault that as a brother and a friend, I respect him very much. It's good to see my sister over here. It's also good to see some of our Comanche tribal members. And that's the reason why I want to acknowledge you, Doug, because our Comanches last year created an organization called Comanches on the Move. And they went up to Standing Rock and they took our Comanche Cold Talker bus. And when they got there about 6 in the morning, something like that, they were well received by the members of the Standing Rock community. They were treated royally. They met people from Japan, people from Canada, by different tribes. They said, you know, we are a Uto Aztecan language speaking peoples. And our people from the Great Basin, our Paiutes and our Utes and our northern Arapahoes, our relatives there, and our relatives from the south, the Aztecs, they were all there. 3 language stocks were together, and for the first time they've ever seen that. So I'm very grateful. So what I really want to do is say thank you to the Standing Rock community. I'm not here as a activist like I used to be back in the 70s. My sister Janelle, she knows those days back there, our AIM days. And we were a part of that way back in the days. But today we come to you on behalf of what is going on with the Standing Rock Sioux. Right here in Oklahoma, we're faced with a lot of dilemmas. We've got these sinkholes cropping up all over the place. We have earthquakes that we've never had before. How many of you have felt an earthquake? Raise your hand. 2 years ago, I was at the Riverwind. I went to the Riverwind. And I walked to the Players Club so I can get me a card and play the machines. And all of a sudden, the chandeliers started moving around. And my wife got really scared and she said, "What's going on?" I said, "It's an earthquake." And she really got scared because she'd never been in an earthquake, and I haven't either. So there we were, right there at the Riverwind. Boy, did we get out of there quick. But the whole thing is, this is what's causing our problems here today. And it's not going to go away. And what the Standing Rock Sioux is doing is they're taking a proactive approach to protecting the water, the land, the environment, and their ancestors. If you would look at what we're dealing with today, we inherited this. Now, I don't know how we're going to resolve the earthquakes, because anytime you take something out of the land, you deplete it, but you don't replace it with anything. Eventually, it's going to create a void. And when that void gets to the point where it's saturated with water and saturated with rain, it's going to collapse. And that's what's happening now. Last week, the Pawnee tribe filed a lawsuit against these oil companies, and they filed a lawsuit. But that's not going to solve the dilemma. That's not going to solve the dilemma. If you were to ask who should be there to protect our rights, it should have been our ancestors. But when the oil boom came in, they were welcoming it just as much as anybody else, because our population, our communities, they needed that so much, because we had just come out of the Dust Bowl, and we needed that oil boom. So naturally, it benefited everybody. But now here we are. We have to solve this dilemma. Otherwise, these little children, these little grandchildren, they're going to be responsible for it. And I wouldn't want to put that on their shoulders. I wouldn't want to put it on their shoulders like what we have to deal with here today. We have to deal with these earthquakes and other catastrophes that are yet to happen, but we know will happen. Who would ever think that Oklahoma would have just as much earthquakes as California? It would never have happened. It should not have happened.
We're having more.
But we got to deal with it, and somewhere along the way, if we don't deal with it, it's never going to get cleansed. So what Dave Archambault is doing, he's taking a proactive approach to protecting his environment. Dave and I served on a Native American Rights Fund Board of Directors a long, long time ago. And we were on this board of directors. We were the ones that filed lawsuit against the Interior Department, the Bureau of Indian Affairs, with regard to the Eloise Cobell settlement. And we won after all these years. Woo! Slaves. Any of you boys here? So that was a problem of government. They didn't do their job. Now, do you think the Army Corps of Engineers is going to do its job?
No!
It's not. So what has to happen is the Standing Rock Sioux tribe is now in the courts saying you didn't come and you didn't consult with us like according to the law. So now we're going to ask that you close this pipeline down, and the lawsuit is just now beginning, and it's going to be a good fight. So it's not over yet.
Shut it down!
I want my son to come up here and help me with this burning cedar because we always pray. And I'm glad to see Beverly. Where are you at, Beverly? I just see the flag. All right. Doug, I want to say thank you for the Standing Rock Sioux's treatment of our Comanche people and all of our relatives that came from Oklahoma to go up there. And when they were there, they were treated royally. And Beverly you've been up there twice, haven't you? Yeah. So they were there, and when they got there like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, it was an unusual belief. But down here, we as our Indian people, we use cedar. Because we have always been told by our ancestors, when Jesus Christ was resurrected from this earth, God shed tears. And wherever those tears fell, cedar trees grew up. They never died. They lived 12 months out of the year. They're always green. And they always have this purity in regard to the smell. I want you to have a safe journey. I want you to know that wherever you go, we're thinking of you too. That water is life. And if it wasn't for water, we wouldn't be here today. And how many of you drank a glass of water this morning? By gosh, you go drink of water and you know it's going to really be good. So we want to say thank you on behalf of all of our people here in Oklahoma. God bless you. And I'm going to put some on your back. Sometimes people say things about you behind your back. You have to be able to withstand that. And not only withstand it, but face it again. Thank you, Doug. That's what Denzel Washington says in that movie. It means good people. So to all you Sanamana, you good people, thank you for coming up early this morning. Thank you for being here on behalf of the Oklahoma City Power Club. And I'm very proud of this Oklahoma City Power Club. And I'm really proud of all of you guys over here.
Thank you.
Thank you!
God bless each and every one of you.
Wallace Coffee. Wallace Coffee. Dominar. Well, you see these black leggings gentlemen here, all military veterans. You know, Native Americans weren't really given citizenship until June of 1924. But some natives were already citizens. If you were a landowner, you were a citizen. But most of the native people in the United States were not citizens. So it took an act of Congress to grant us citizenship. That was by an act of Congress. And why did they do that? I think they did it, one of the reasons they did that was because in World War I, young men volunteered for military service, not even being citizens. I said, why did they do that? Well, let's do something for them. So there was this senator from Kansas, who later on went on to become a vice president of the United States. And I think he was one that was responsible for pushing through legislation that would grant all Native Americans citizenship. June 1924. Our next speaker. You can see Camp Hornick. My whole relatives. I first want to acknowledge the Black Legging Society and say, Weebloho, thank you for coming today. I want to say thank you to all of our elders for coming and guiding us and sharing your knowledge with us. I want to say thank you to the children for coming out today, because it's you that we're here for. It's your life and your future that we stand here for today. So I want to say thank you to all the little ones and to the mothers that brought their children here today. I also want to say thank you to the women folk for coming, for giving us the strength and the courage to stand up for our people, for teaching us compassion for one another. Standing Rock was a historic event. I got called to Standing Rock on August the 8th. I just finished sun dancing and got to the top of the hill, and I had some messages from my sister Joy Braun asking me to come to Standing Rock. There was a 48-hour notice of construction. Joy and some of the other relatives had been there since April 1st. They started a camp there. I see my auntie Barbara Warner out here. I want to say hi, Auntie. She's was the director for the Indian Affairs Commission at one time, so we're honored to have you, Auntie. When I got to Standing Rock, there was a small camp at Sacred Stone. Maybe about 50 people camped there. August the 9th, some young men and women went over and blocked the two gates into the access point between Highway 1806 and the Missouri River. It was those young men and young women that made the initial stand against the Dakota Access Pipeline at Standing Rock. I want to say thank you to those young men and women for having the courage to stand up for the water and stand up for the future generations, to stand up for the rights of all Indigenous people. On August the 10th, we gathered in front of those gates, 35 of us, 15 in front of one gate, 10 in front of the other gate. And they came in with a large police force, 35 units, 80 officers came in. We thought everybody was going to go to jail that day.
But they went past us to the top of the hill, and they decided they were going to make a different access point through the middle between us. So we made a plan and gathered, and we went down from the north and the south. We met them there. On that day, 4 people chose to sacrifice themselves and sacrifice their life for the water, for the land, for the future generations, and for the people. And they got arrested that day, 4 of them. Those were the first 4 arrestees. Now there's been over 700 people that have made that sacrifice. Myself, my mother, hundreds and hundreds of other people made that sacrifice. Were dehumanized, were abused, put in dog kennels by the Morton County Sheriff Department. These injustices will not be a part of our lives. Will not stand for that. I stand here humbly before you, thankful for my life, thankful for the elders that raised me in the American Indian movement. I also want to acknowledge Indian Territory AIM that's here. I want to say thank you. Carrying on our lives, carrying on the ways, the ones that taught us and brought us up in this way of life to stand up for the rights of indigenous people, to stand up for the rights of our land and water, to stand up for the rights of nature, the silent nations. What happened in Standing Rock spurred a movement, a global awakening, that we cannot allow our planet to be destroyed. It's up to us to make a stand individually, to make a collective change in the world, to stand up for the survival of the planet, the survival of human life itself, and for all living things. The Missouri River, the Dakota Access, No Dakota Access pipeline movement that started there to protect the Missouri River represents all water and all life. Here in Oklahoma, we brought that back. We brought it home. And many, many indigenous nations took it home to their territories. That's one of the things that we talked about up there. I was there for 6 months. 350 indigenous nations united at Standing Rock. For the first time in history, our people were together as one. We made a difference, and we continue to make a difference. We continue to take that fight back to our own territories, wherever you're from, whatever nation you represent, wherever community you belong to. Stand up for yourselves and stand up for the rights of the future generations.
Fight back!
Here in Oklahoma, we're at the pipeline crossroads of the world. We're also the earthquake capital of the world. We live here in the belly of the beast. Big oil runs the government here. You know Scott Pruitt, head of the EPA now. Ties to the big oil companies, we know. And now he's tied to the current administration and all the bad choices that Donald Trump has made to desecrate this nation and this land. It's up to us to make a change, to make a stand. People are taken to the streets. We have to protect our land. We have to protect our water. We have to protect our way of life. There's several pipelines that are coming into Oklahoma. The Diamond Pipeline is under construction here in Oklahoma right now. The Midship Pipeline is coming soon. All of the fracking and injection wells that are causing the earthquakes, we're setting ourselves up for a catastrophe here in Oklahoma. Total devastation. If we have a 7 earthquake like they're trying to predict that we're going to have, what's going to happen to those pipelines that are in the ground? They're going to break and they're going to contaminate our water, going to contaminate our rivers, going to contaminate the wells. We can't allow this. We have to stand up. Our voices have to be heard. There's a new bill that the Oklahoma legislation is trying to pass 11:23 and 22, 21, 28. Anti-protester bills to try to scare us, intimidation.
No!
To punish us for using the First Amendment right, for standing up and using our freedom of speech, our right to assemble that we have under the Constitution, First Amendment. We have to bring education and awareness to the state. We have to say no to these bills.
Will not be oppressed.
I did a press conference the other day. Several of us were there. I told them that I will not be deterred by a fine or the threat of jail to stand up for what's right for my people and our children and the future generations. I want to thank each and every one of you for your time, for your sacrifice, for your prayers. I know it's cold out here. I don't want to take too much more time, but I just want to say, Weebla Ho. I want to introduce Clarice Whitebull from Standing Rock Nation, a mother from Standing Rock. She came long ways. She's endured. I want to ask her to come up here and share some words with you. Thank you.
Shante Izawi Machapi Ian Wasoha Mataha Ate Marquepo Giapi Ina Patricia Ann Loretto Giapi Lakota na Coach Di Wia Hamacha. My name is Clarice Whitebull. I'm from Standing Rock, and my mother's people are also from Cochiti Pueblo. Was there in the beginnings of the fight against the Dakota Access Pipeline, and I attended the hearings, meetings that were held prior to, and in the days before they gave a 2-day notice before they began construction on the pipeline, and all I could feel at the time was panic and anxiety and sleeplessness. Every single time I drew a bath for my children and made coffee in the morning and cooked and cleaned, every single part of my day revolved somehow around water, and I noticed it more than ever. I've always appreciated the fact that we have clean water, and painfully aware of the fact that there's millions of people around the world that don't have access to clean water because they're unfortunate. But there's a growing number of people that are without water today because of these pipelines and fracking, and that's preventable. So in those days before, in my sleeplessness and my anxiety, wondering what I could do, just a mother, not nothing, not nobody. I'm not a billionaire. I'm nobody. I'm just a mother. That's all I am.
Mothers are everything.
So that morning that they were to begin construction, I kissed my babies and I left. As the sun rose, I drove along the river, and we stood that morning. We stood the days to follow. We saw the birth of the camps. We were there to welcome people, and those first days on the barricades, and in the panic and in the helplessness, we sent our cries out for help, and it was a shout in the dark, not knowing who would respond and who would care, because you see it happen everywhere. You see it happen here with these pipelines being built. Who would care, you know? And the response was more than we could ever ask for, and more than we could ever thank you for. And thank you could never be enough for every prayer, every blanket, everything, that every bit of love and support. I could never thank you enough. From my heart, I truly thank every single person that's helped with a prayer and caring, because it is for our children, and our prayers go out 7 generations ahead of us, and they could threaten to jail us. We'll sacrifice that because we love our people that much. Everything that has been done to us to make us ashamed of who we are hasn't affected our love for each other, for our children, for our future. We still love each other. We still support each other. And in that support and everything in the gathering that we experienced, beyond our oppressors, saying their inability to say sorry for what they've done to our people, it's our acknowledgement to each other to be able to say, I'm glad you survived. We lived, we survived. I'm glad you survived. And it's in our hope for the survival of our future that we're standing. Your one person, your one number matters. And that's the collectivity, the unity, the people. This movement has always been of the people, not of government, but of people. Our right to be here, our right to survive, our right to protect our children, that's who we stand for. And you have that right.
We're here for Standing Rock. However, this demonstration is not free. We have funding for this. And one of the ways we're doing that is we have t-shirts for sale in the back here. They look just like this one. It says, "No Dapl. Water is life." Joe, turn around and show the back of it. That's Joe Pole's best side, by the way. Those t-shirts are for sale back here for $15. Help fray just a little bit of this expense. We have to have a permit. This is all done legally, by the way. We're not just a bunch of radicals out here making speeches. Although some of you are radicals, I can tell. Buy a t-shirt, help us out.
I want to apologize. I want to acknowledge Doug Kroghost. I want to apologize, brother, for not acknowledging you earlier. Doug and I worked together for months up on Standing Rock, and want to say thank you for coming all the way out here to Oklahoma. I want to introduce a good sister and a strong ally here in the state of Oklahoma, one of the founders of the No Plains Pipeline Group, Ashley McCray.
My name is Ashley Nicole McCray. I'm an enrolled member of the Atsati Shawnee Tribe of Oklahoma. I'm also Oglala Tichangu Lakota. My mom comes from Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. As my brother Mikasi just told you, I am one of the co-founders of the organization that we call Stop the All-American Plains Pipeline, No Plains Pipeline. Yeah. You can find our page on Facebook, and I really encourage all of you to please go on there because we have a lot of developments unfolding as we speak, actually. And I would like to speak to you a little bit about the struggle that we are facing here in the state of Oklahoma to defeat the black snake. As my brother Mikasi had told you, we are home to the pipeline crossroads of the world. More pipelines intersect through the state of Oklahoma and Cushing, Oklahoma than anywhere else. Beyond that, as our Pawnee relatives have shown us and have demonstrated to us, we're also the earthquake capital of the world. And these two together are just an ecological, environmental disaster waiting to happen. The United States Geological Survey has told us that Oklahoma is only going to be experiencing more earthquakes with higher intensity, more frequency. So we are scheduled for an earthquake of 7.0 magnitude. What happens when these pipelines, which we know these companies aren't concerned about the well-being of their workers or the people or the places that they build these pipelines through. So these pipelines, the actual manufacturing of these pipelines is done in a very shoddy and poorly constructed way. What are we going to do when these pipelines burst? We've already experienced oil spills in Cushing recently in 2017. We've experienced oil spills all throughout the state of Oklahoma. And as many of you know, as all of my relatives here know, Oklahoma is Indian territory. We are home to 39 federally recognized tribes and up to 60 unrecognized tribes here in this state. And we know that only 3 of these tribes are actually indigenous to the state of Oklahoma. So that means at least 40 tribes, 40 different nations were forced from their original homelands, the place that Creator put us to protect, that put our ancestors to protect, put our prayers to protect our people. We were forcibly relocated from those places and dumped here. And we were promised through treaty. And it's so funny too, because you can go to the Oklahoma State Capitol and see the monument that stands in front of the building, which is created by Alan Hauser, a Chiricahua Apache who lived in the state of Oklahoma. And it says, "So long as the waters flow." And that monument in front of the Capitol is a recognition, is an understanding of the treaty that was created between the United States government and the Cherokee Nation that says, so long as the waters flow, so long as the sun shines, so long as the grass grows, no white people will be able to come west of the Arkansas River. Well, we saw what happened once they discovered oil was here. And now we see that they are building an actual pipeline underneath this river. The diamond pipeline that my brother Mikasi was telling you about will run from Cushing, Oklahoma, through the state of Arkansas, run directly across the Trail of Tears into West Memphis, Tennessee. Exactly. Actually, over 500 waterways that this company will be crossing to construct this pipeline. This pipeline is a 50% partnership between Valero and also Plains All-American Pipeline. And we have issues with each of these companies individually, and together we know that this is only a disaster waiting to happen. And yeah, many people say, well, what have you been doing about all these other pipelines? Why weren't you standing up yet? It's because we live here in this state, our representatives, our legislatures, our politicians have shoved oil down our throats for so long that we are so acculturated to the culture of oil. We are so used to seeing pipelines running through our yards, fracking wells popping up in our backyard, all these refineries all over the state. You can't even go a mile without seeing one of these things. And it's just unacceptable. It is absolutely unacceptable. And as my brother Mikasi said, there are a few things that you can do to help us right now. As he said, we recently had 2 press conferences. Our most recent was this past week with the ACLU and attorney Doug Parr, who is a representative who represents people who are involved in civil disobedience. We are fighting House Bill 1123, which was authored by Representative Scott Biggs. We are also fighting against House Bill 2128, as this man has this sign here. And I'm urging you, because these bills have already passed through the House, they are bound to become law if we do not intervene in a big way. This is very dangerous. This is a very direct frontal assault on our rights as Oklahoma citizens, as American citizens, and even more than that, as treaty people. We need our treaties honored, and we cannot tolerate this anymore. We need to say enough is enough. I'm asking you to please blast it through your networks. Tell everybody to please contact your senators. Tell them to vote no on House Bill 1123 and House Bill 2128, because these are direct assaults on our First Amendment right. We already have enough laws that are on the books to protect against the measures that Representative Biggs is trying to say will be protected underneath these House bills. And I want to point something out. Representative Scott Biggs does not stand for the people of Oklahoma. No. He is bought out by oil. One of his top campaign contributors is Energy Transfer Partners. No. Yes. Energy transfer partners. So we know here in the state of Oklahoma that our representatives are more concerned, more beholden to the interests of big corporations that aren't even housed in the state of Oklahoma. They prioritize these big oil companies over their own constituents who have voted them into office. So I know that our people do not like to be involved in politics. And I know our people don't like to be involved in white man's legislation. But the time to stand is now. They are attacking us directly. Not only are these pipelines going to threaten our people, not only are these pipelines and these fracking companies and these oil corporations direct frontal assaults on our indigenous people, not only are they representing environmental genocide against our people, but they are actually violating the First Amendment by trying to pass these unconstitutional, unjust, and unhumane laws. And they are all scare tactics because of the unity, because of the awareness and the consciousness that the battle in Standing Rock has awakened in everybody, even here in Oklahoma. And I think that the time to bring the fight home is now. Our people, I see Richard Whitman out here, and I see several other Aimster elders who made the journey in 1973 to stand with my people at Wounded Knee. I lost my grandfather, Buddy Lamont, to the U.S. Federal Marshals. They shot and killed my grandfather because he was standing up for his people. We are going to see that happen again. We saw what happened in Standing Rock too. And so many of our Oklahoman people made the journey up to Standing Rock to stand with the Hunkpapa and the other Lakota nations. And I think the time is now for everybody to come to Oklahoma and to stand with our people. And our legislators see that. Our legislators see that we are awake, that we are aware, that we are educated, and that we are ready to fight. You know, I often ask, my partner and my friends, why? Why was I born in this time? I just feel so helpless. I don't know why. I do not understand why I was born in this time. But you know what? One of my sisters, Alicia Anzawa, one of the other founders of No Plains Pipeline, my Atati Shawnee sister, my clan sister, told me, you know what? You were meant to be born in this time because our ancestors prayed for us to be here. And also more than that, our ancestors realized that we are the generation. We are the group of people that can actually stand up and make sure that all of our ancestors' sacrifices are not for nothing. We will stand up and we will make sure that our future generations have a place to live. And not just for our own indigenous people, but for all life, because all life needs water. Now, really quickly about a couple of practical things that we have going on. There are several encampments that are being formed in the state of Oklahoma that we are supporting and that we are part of and that we are promoting, and we are asking everybody to please come and join. We will have more information on our pages really soon. We're actually probably going today to start cleaning up one of the camp areas, but these camps will be located in East Oklahoma. There's a creek camp, there's another camp that is south of the Arkansas River, and hopefully we'll be able to encourage other landowners, specifically allottees, people who have Indian allotments, to open up their lands to house the people that are coming. I want everybody to know, do not be intimidated by the things that these legislatures are trying to do. Do not be intimidated by coming out and making your voices heard and standing for what is right. As my brother Mikasi said, these things are not going to deter us. I'm not scared to be arrested. My grandfather lost his life for this movement. Do you think that standing behind bars for a few days or weeks or whatever is going to change my mind? And I will stand up for everybody. I will stand up even for Representative Scott Biggs, who has 2 young daughters who will need water to live. What kind of future is he making sure that they will inherit? We need to bring this down to the issue of life. At the end of the day, no matter what kind of skin color you have, at the end of the day, we all need water. Whether it be these people and these big oil corporations or the indigenous people whose lands, lives, and love is being destroyed because of these awful black snakes. And I want people to know, don't be afraid because we have numbers. Like John Trudell said, it's about people power. That's what this is about. That is why these legislatures are trying to intimidate us. Because they know we have the power to defeat the things that they are doing to us. And I want people to know that we do have a coalition of many different organizations who are united and who will stand up together to fight against this. Not only is this No Plains Pipeline, but also Sierra Club Oklahoma City, AIM Indian Territory, Bold Oklahoma, the Red Earth Movement. We even have people from Oak Flat, the Apache Stronghold, and everywhere else throughout Turtle Island who are willing to come and stand with us, who support us. So don't be afraid to make your voices heard. Don't be afraid to stand up for what's right. We will be there for you. We will be there for each other. We will take care of each other, and we will defeat these black snakes so that we can have water to drink. Water to live. We are strong. Nene Tony. Niawe, Wopila, please feel free to come talk to any of the people from our coalition. We have Mickasee Camp, Horonek, we have Mike Castile, we have several different representatives from these different organizations, and we are ready to rise, and we need all of you to help us. Thank you.
Thank you!
Wonderful speech, wonderful young lady. That senator from Kansas, I couldn't remember his name. His name was Charles Curtis. He was a senator from Kansas, and then he went on to be elected Vice President of the United States under President Herbert Hoover. He was called Indian from Kansas. If anything would have happened to President Hoover, we would have had a Native American as President of the United States. I believe this concludes our protest, our demonstration. I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank the Kiowa Black Leggings. Thank you, gentlemen. Tucker Palmer and those other gentlemen. Thank everybody for being here. Water is life. And pick up a t-shirt.
Water is life!
Pick up a t-shirt in the back. They're $15. Help us out just a little bit.
Fight back!
We appreciate everybody being here. Thank you for being here. All right. Have a good day.
Thank you.